James Porter sat hunched on a weathered park bench, elbows on his knees, staring at the empty swing that used to creak under the laughter of his little boy. The sky above Riverdale Park was bright and blue, yet his world felt painted in shades of gray. He hadn't meant to come here today, but his feet had a way of finding this place ever since he lost Anna in that accident 3 winters ago. Their son, Liam, only 5 when the cancer came so suddenly last year, had loved this park. The sandbox, the slides, the ladder up it all lingered like ghosts in the breeze. James ran his hand over his stubbled chin, feeling the guilt like a weight pressing on his ribs. The world bustled around him, families picnicking, kids squealing, couples strolling hand in hand, life moving on, while his had been stuck on pause. He felt the bench shift slightly. He looked down. A small girl in a purple raincoat, pigtails tied up with mismatched ribbons, was sitting beside him, swinging her legs. She looked up with the big curious eyes of someone who still believed the world was mostly good. "Mr. Brokenbar, you look sad." James blinked, taken aback. Oh, do I?" She nodded solemnly. "Like my daddy did when my grandma went to heaven." He managed a dry chuckle. "I suppose I do." She stuck out a tiny hand. "I'm Ellie." "James," he said, shaking her hand carefully, as if she might break. "Wanna meet my mommy?" she asked, almost shyly. "She makes sad people smile." "That's what she does. She's magic." James wanted to say no, he didn't want anyone fussing over him, but something about this child's quiet certainty cracked open a piece of him that had been sealed shut for too long. "Okay, Ellie," he said, pushing himself up, joints squeaking like the old swings. "Let's meet your magic mom." Ellie led him to a checkered blanket under an oak tree. A young woman knelt there, packing away some books and snacks. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and a soft warmth radiated from her the moment she looked up. "Mommy, this is James. He's sad." The woman laughed gently, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Well, hello, James. I'm Grace." She extended her hand. Hers was warm, the kind of warmth that reminded him he hadn't felt human touch in what felt like forever. "Nice to meet you, Grace." Ellie plopped down on the blanket, busying herself with a coloring book. Grace motioned for James to sit. He hesitated but lowered himself cross-legged onto the blanket. They talked, small talk at first. She asked about his favorite books, his job. He told her he used to work as a high school teacher, but he hadn't gone back since Liam. He found himself saying Liam's name out loud for the first time in months, surprised by how it caught in his throat like a bittersweet song. Grace didn't flinch or look away. She nodded, listening, her eyes kind and steady. She told him about Ellie's wild imagination, her own late husband, a firefighter who died in the line of duty when Ellie was just a baby. "That's when I started doing this," Grace said, waving her hand at the picnic basket and the blanket. "Coming here, sitting in the park, just a broken bar being around life. It's healing." James looked around. The squeals, the chirping birds, the sun dappled through the leaves. He hadn't realized how much he'd missed Ida life, in all its imperfect noise. As the sun began to dip, turning the park gold, Ellie tugged at his sleeve. "Do you wanna come again tomorrow? Mommy makes the best peanut butter sandwiches, and I can show you how to make daisy crowns." James felt a laugh bubbling up, raw but real. He looked at Grace, who smiled like she'd been waiting for him to remember how. "I'd like that," he said. Ellie threw her arms around his neck, surprising him again. He inhaled the faint scent of crayons and sunshine in her hair, and for a moment, he let himself feel it all, at the ache, the warmth, the tiny spark of hope. In the weeks that followed, James found himself returning to that park bench, but this time, he wasn't alone. He brought peanut butter sandwiches and paper planes, silly knock-knock jokes, and a battered copy of Liam's favorite storybook to read to Ellie under the oak tree. One afternoon, as he and Grace packed up after a picnic, she reached for his hand. Her touch was as gentle as the breeze that rustled the summer leaves. "Grief never leaves," she said, squeezing his fingers. "But neither does love." He realized then that maybe you don't move on from love or loss. Maybe you just move forward with the memories that hurt and heal all at once. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you find new souls to walk alongside you. That evening, as he walked home, James felt the ache in his chest loosen its hold. He looked up at the sky, and no longer just a ceiling of grey, but an open canvas. Sometimes, a single small voice, a child's simple kindness, can reach into the dark places and remind you you're not alone, that hope waits for you, even on the loneliest bench in the park. And that's how James learned to live again. One peanut butter sandwich, one daisy crown, and one gentle hand at a time.